Metro Boomin want some more, nigga.
Automatics in the trunk. Shoot the maggots with the pump. Got it, natty. Love the paddock on my arm. He got static. Pussy nigga, run your charm. Ghostface killers, Wu-Tang, 21 News Gang. Drug dealers in the Moussain, at the top of the food chain. Trapping the cocaine, no game. Shooter with no name. We can play toe games, the whole game. Kicking your dough, man. Yeah. Put on the paddock, private setting, I'm an addict. Break the mattress with a batty on the attic. Diamond glasses, need some glasses for the flashes, yeah. Michael Jackson with the fashion, bitch, I'm dabbing, yeah. I do this shit on purpose, got the bitches slurping. Whoa. All your pockets on hurting, nigga, you could be my servant. Go to the line, young nigga, don't listen, I purchase. After I cut up a thought, I give her some money for service. Yeah. Wherever I go, the whole gang gon' go. Yeah, you cannot tame the hoe because she won't fame for sure. You think that you rich cause you got 100 or more. I got an overload, look like I just sold my soul. I pour up before a little, I got the stripes, Adidas. I got a farm, mama, see it, and I've been known to beat it. Niggas ain't going defeated. We get the guns immediate. No running the group is an idiot. These niggas is broken, it's pitiful. Automatics in the trunk. Shoot the maggots with the pump. Got it, natty. Love the paddock on my arm. He got static. Pussy nigga, run your charm. Ghostface killers, Wu-Tang, 21 News Gang. Drug dealers in the Moussain, at the top of the food chain. Trapping the cocaine, no game. Shooter with no name. We can play toe games, the whole game. Kicking your dough, man.
Yeah. Kim Jong, yeah, big bomb. Wonder bread, man, make your bitch lick crumb. Yeah, out of my pocket, flooded, got my wrist numb. Link, grab the hit stick, nigga tryna blitz some. Dope boy, I sell coke, boy. You broke ass rappers, food, it's a po' boy. Everybody the same, all these niggas sound alike. Yeah, Fox 5 gang, turn you to a candlelight. Bitch boy on my mobster, shrimp in my pasta. Jamaican dun da da, hang round the shotters. Mad Max, nigga, yeah, hang with the killer. Planet of the Apes, yeah, I hang around gorillas. I got AK, SK, HK, broad day. You a fuck boy, we ain't with the horseplay, bitch. Trump ass nigga, did you do your chores today? Do you wanna take a ride with the coroner today?
Automatics in the trunk. Shoot the maggots with the pump. Got it, natty. Love the paddock on my arm. He got static. Pussy nigga, run your charm. Ghostface killers, Wu-Tang, 21 News Gang. Drug dealers in the Moussain, at the top of the food chain. Trapping the cocaine, no game. Shooter with no name. You can play toe games, the whole game. Kicking your dough, man.
Drop from the heaven straight in the wild. Trunk in the front, top gotta slide.
Today, we're going to talk about some fantasy football, players to draft or fade, the MLB slate, and of course, the BTL squad ride. Stick around. This is Behind the Lines. Did they forget to put the Hokies on there at the bottom? I don't know. Did they forget to put them in there? Was it too much of a lock and people were trying to get too cute with their votes? How did Virginia Tech miss this list? It does not make a lick of sense to me. You know, I'm starting to understand maybe why you guys think I'm a moose shit better sometimes. These losses, they look bad. They do. The wins, they sneak by. Nobody gives a hoot about those.
The Candyman, it's just more of a gut feeling on this one because he's been really bad. But wanted a red square. That's my red square.
If I'm sitting there in the front row and a home run ball's hit to me and I've got no glove in sight, I'm waiting for that puppy to come in. Probably going to break my hand. I don't care because I'm going to make a play like a savage. And this old geezer gets in my way with a glove and catches the ball. We're going to have a talk. There's going to be a conversation happening. And I've got, yep, you guessed it, the same fucking square that burned us yesterday because I'm not scared. All right, and I don't quit. What's going on, chat? Happy BTL Tuesday, episode 536 piece. As always, hold the fry, joined by your two hosts, Krabs and Jovan, presented by Bookit Sports. If you're not tracking your bets on Bookit, how about you start doing it before this football season? Get yourself set up nice. Go download the app. It cannot be easier to use. Start tracking your bets this year for the NFL and college football seasons, and I promise you'll thank me in a couple months. All right, go check out Bookit. I promise you it's worth your time. All right? Jovan, how we doing? Happy Tuesday. Not our best day on the books yesterday. That's for sure. But we're back for a vengeance today. All right, we're coming back for the coins. Yep. We got RedTube live. Let's go, JT. W's. Love to see it. We got Brock D coming in, resubbing. The vibes are already up on a Tuesday afternoon. W Brock D, 21 months with the GOATs. Let's have a fucking day. Why not us, Brock D? Why not us? Let's have a fucking day. All right, we're going to give away some Prize Picks coins here. We've got a king of the board to wrap up here in a moment. But first, why don't we go ahead and dive in and do the L recaps here for the squad ride. Get them over with. Move shit over.
Yeah, no pulls from the start. Can't even say much. So I won't trash them too much for their performance for reasons of today's game. But yeah, that was a good performance by those two teams.
Brutal. Kylo, send me your team, bro. I'll let you know what I think. All right, I hope you had a good draft last night. Sharp reports. Golly, man. 2-3 from both of us. Not going to cut it. Almost swept on the Prize Pick square. Shout out Talion. That's one of those guys that should just not be bet on or taken on Prize Picks literally ever. It is what it is. We move. I mean, the under a late night, that finally smacked in that Rays Mariners game. But besides that, Jovan, I had no real great reads. We got to bounce back today with some winners. All right?
Your
other option.
Your Tyon square should have hit too. That was moose.
Well, shoulda, woulda, coulda. Unfortunately, did not. We're here. It is what it is. Let's move and let's groove. Let's give away some Prize Picks coins for the people. Let's give some away. Jovan absolutely dominated the king of the board this past week. I mean, I had a terrible running, probably the worst one I've ever had, 2-3. That is not going to cut it. Down 1.5 units. Jovan, you're up 2.5, pretty much 4-1 on king of the board. Great fucking week, man. You made some people some money. All right, W's. Speech. Any comments after your big win?
No, I'm not gloating after that one because the last one to tuck in was the Mariners against my Rays. So can't be too happy about that.
Sure. Adam, I'll check that puppy out after BTLs, or you can drop the names of the players and we can talk about them here a little bit later. Let's give away some Prize Picks coins to somebody who believed in Jovan. Gootsy, who dropped the milk emoji, who believed in Jovan to bounce back and have a big king of the board W.
Let's find a milk. Got to be somewhere in here, right?
Let's find the milk. There's plenty of them. You don't got to go far.
You got to go far. Right there. I think BA won before. We'll do Wags.
All right, Wags Locks.
Wow.
First time winner. Wow. BA Sports about to fucking show up at my place with an angry mob. We got Wags Locks coming in. W's. Wags Locks. I know you're chilling in here in fucking chat. Show yourself. Where you at? There he is. Let's fucking go, Wags Locks. An OG. Always fucking chilling. Show yourself. There he is. W's. Hit us up with the email associated with your Prize Picks, Wags, and we got you covered. All right, give us a couple days. We'll get that puppy put in there. All right, let's move. Let's groove. Jovan, we've got a lot to get to today. Before we dive in and talk about some MLB winners, before we dive in and talk about some fantasy football angles, some players we like, some players we want to pass on, and before we get to the squad rides, do we have a minute for me to bitch about something you might want to hear?
I think I do.
All right, let's run it. Goots, run that shit. Big news in the DMV today, Jovan. This is an absolute Adam Schefter bomb coming in hot this morning, fresh off the presses. Looks like the Commanders found a new sponsor to slap up on the top of that shitty stadium. FedEx, I mean, it's crazy to think that FedEx was like, I'm fucking out of here, literally ripped the fucking letters off the stadium last year. We're done, right? And honestly, I don't even blame them with how poverty the program has been and how terrible the people have been who've been running that show over there before this new regime is coming. All right, so I'm not surprised we're seeing some changes here. But you're telling me there weren't any better options, Jovan, than Northwest Federal Credit Union. You don't think maybe somebody from the local area, the DMV, DC, Nova, Northern Virginia, where they have all these HQs, Capital One, all these great companies in the area, maybe one of those people can come up and, slap their logo on the stadium? No, it's got to be Northwest Federal Credit Union. This pisses me off for two reasons. Number one, I mean, that name just makes no fucking sense. It's like when they added SMU and Stanford's and Cal to the ACC. That pisses me off because that doesn't make fucking sense in my brain. That's the Atlantic Coast Conference, and we have schools from the Pacific Coast playing in the Atlantic Coast Conference. That pisses me off. Just off the rip. Change the name if you're going to do that. We got Northwest slapped on the top of our fucking stadium. We already have a problem getting fucking home fans to fill up the stadium. We've got away teams coming in, taking over FedEx Fields. And now we've got Northwest on the side of it. Has nothing to do with the fucking area. Could not be a grosser, worse name. To make matters worse, I saw one of the Commanders beat reporters earlier this morning, Jovan. He came up with a great nickname, right? This is one of the main guys for the Commanders. Probably their number one beat reporter, to be honest with you. Very popular. Good nickname for the new stadium, the Fet. I've heard that before. I've tweeted that before. I've said that before. I've been talking about that for years. I've called that stadium the piece of shit, the Fed, literally for probably the past 5 years, to be honest with you. It's a great nickname, even when it was called the FedEx Field, right? Obviously, he's got a good idea here, Jovan. Good nickname for the new stadium, the Fed, since the Federal Credit Union. But he's fucking stealing my nickname. He's stealing my fucking mojo here. I've been calling it the Fed for years. I got to go back and check the receipts. Oh, all these people coming out of the woodwork saying, oh, JP has this great new nickname for the stadium. We're going to call it the Fed. Me and my buddies have been calling it the Fed for half a fucking decade. It's been the Fed. You can't come in here and take our fucking nickname away and give credit. I'm going to pull some receipts out. And that is a good nickname, Auto Gelato. It's much better than fucking Northwest Field. We're in the fucking East Coast. That makes 0 sense. What are we doing? I think that is a good nickname. And I'm mad that my guy JP is fucking trying to poach it right from my hands. Unbelievable. It is the Fed. And that is a moose shit stadium. I cannot wait to go back in week 2. I cannot wait. Jovan, thoughts on Northwest Federal Credit Union Field? Does that sound good? Does that roll off the tongue for you?
Yeah, it definitely doesn't, especially when the team's in, what is the stadium technically in Virginia?
I mean, it's in Maryland still right now. It's in Maryland.
Maryland.
Yeah.
Yeah. Northwest Stadium definitely rolls off the tongue when you're talking about a team that's in Maryland. So that sounds right.
That makes sense, right? WC. Trolling, trying to get in my head. Should have copyrighted it like Gratitude. Good move, Fat Girls. I expect to get one of those t-shirts in the mail here soon. Okay. Kylo's team: Burrow, JT, Swift, Olave, Devonta, Ingram, Spears, Mooney, Cowboys D, and Tucker. Bench has Chuba. Let's fucking go. You got my guy. That's my number one sleeper this year. That team's fire, Kylo. I like that team. And we'll talk a little bit more about fantasy football here in a moment.
You got Justin Tucker.
I bet.
Hey, we got a Mount St. Mary's alum who wants to take me out to dinner. TBD on that one, Fuzzy, but I appreciate you reaching out. I'll see if I'm in the area. We're doing a lot of traveling coming up here for these games, but good to see we got some Mount St. Mary's locals in the chat. Didn't put this on the outline, but my pitching coach in high school, who ended up going to Mount St. Mary's when I was at St. Mary's High School, he made his fucking MLB debut last night. I mean, I said this to Goots and Jovan. Took this dude 10 years in the minors to finally make his debut, and sure, he gave up 6 runs and, got absolutely destroyed up there. But the fact that my high school pitching coach made his MLB debut yesterday, I saw that this morning on the feed. I was like, what the fuck? This guy was teaching high schoolers how to pitch a decade ago, and now he's in the majors? They're going to write movies about that. They're going to write books. Unbelievable. Shout out Brady Feigl, Mount St. Mary's alum and former St. Mary's high school pitching coach back when I was there a while ago. I mean, this is just the type of shit I'm talking about, Jovan, that only happens to me. You can't make it up. Somebody's watching somewhere laughing. And there's this fan cheering for him. Good for him. I don't care if he gave up 20 runs. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, definitely went downhill from this point on, but it's crazy to get there in the first place.
That is unbelievable. Happy for Coach. And yes, Fuzzy, I did go to St. Mary's. I didn't go to the Mount, but I know that school, very familiar with it. My parents went there. I did go to St. Mary's in Annapolis. Yep. We got a hype train moving and grooving. We got Jules 4-3 coming in, resubbing. We got hella subbies. Davey Martinez's burner coming in. Hey, Krabs, while you're already bitching, get ready to bitch tonight while you witness Corbin pitch the biggest meatballs. Great. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'll be there bits on ground for that matchup. We'll talk about that in a moment. We got C-Dub coming in, resubbing as well. Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. I've been promising you a Mount game for 2 years. It might have to be the year this year. I missed the Mount. I need to go up there for a basketball game. All right, let's focus on football for now. Okay. Jovan, we'll move on and talk about some of our plays for today. And then we'll go over some of those fantasy football matchups and players to draft and avoid that I think the people are going to be very, very interested in, who probably all have their drafts this week. I know a lot of people do. You guys are going to want to hear this. So stick around. For now, we'll go ahead and spoon feed you some winners. All right, let's dive into the slate here. And let's talk about, I've got to play on the earliest game of the day, 6:40 Eastern. Sure. The Guardians, who have cost us coins of late. The Guardians are about to give up that first place spot, Jovan. But the Guardians and Gavin Williams and that 5 ERA are catching a little bit of steam against Lorenzen, who's been pretty solid recently. Now, if you look at the prize picks boards, you'll see that Michael Lorenzen is getting absolutely disrespected. He's got that sketchy earn run square up there as well that makes it seem like he's going to get crushed today. Williams has the exact opposite. Williams has squares up there that make me think he's going to go out there and shove today. He's got that earn run square up for him that's very green. And I think he's going to bounce back and have a pretty good start against the Royals, who aren't cheating at home today. I think they bounce back and get a big-time win. I'm going to lay the juice with Cleveland. I'm not getting cute taking their team total. I'm not getting cute laying the 1.5. I'll take the money line, and I'll meet you guys at the cash counter. But Prize Picks is screaming at me in this game that we're going to see a huge starting pitching advantage for the Guardians here at home. And coming off of 2 losses, I do think they bounced back already. Love the splits. Love that they're catching steam. And just the fact that Gavin Williams and that shitty ERA and how bad he's been recently is catching steam in the first place against Lorenzen, in my opinion, is a great sign. Give me the ML.
Yeah, it's a tricky game. I'd probably lean the Guardians' way. Hopefully they do something after yesterday.
Sure.
I don't know why they're so bad in doubleheaders, but they just are. But yeah, I'm not against this one. I'm kind of with you.
Okay. All right. But guess where Krabs will be? The Diamond Club? Yeah, not today, man. Not today. They didn't really have any tickets available, and the ones they did were like $400. I'm not doing that.
Yankees tax, Krabs.
That might be the Yankee tax. There'll probably be more Yankee fans there today. Unfortunately, yeah, you can go and cash the minus 1,000 Diamond Club mention, but I will not be sitting in the Diamond Club seats. I'll be sitting right behind them. We'll be okay. Life is good. All right. Unloading on Jovan's big 6. Yeah, we got to pull that up at some point as well. Jovan, thoughts? Okay. Thoughts on the Guardians on the ML before we move?
I like the Guardians. A
Sure.
rare time where I really want to trust their bats, even though it's tough against Michael Lorenzen because he seems to, I don't know, shit the bed against the teams that he's supposed to pitch well against and vice versa. But I am hoping that there's a really good performance in store because if they do get to Lorenzen or at least make them work early, Royals bullpen off a doubleheader is cake. So, I mean, not that the Guardians is in like such a better spot, but they're such a better unit. So if we need it late in the game, you're probably going to get it.
C-Dot, that's not good. I'm going to need to know who the fuck tweeted that. I need receipts. I need names. Number 2, people were asking, should we go first 5 or not? I asked Jovan that earlier. He said, why the fuck would you take out fading the Royals bullpen in that bet? I said, you know what? You're right. They're moose shit. Let's just keep it in there and lay the juice and take the M out. Couple other things. I mean, why are we talking about fading the Ravens and Lamar in the chats? Grow up, lock in.
He's copy and pasting the comment under the big
Sure. We've got Colt Stick coming in, dropping a 5U sub whale, Jovan. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 subbies coming in from Colt Stick. Moving that hype train. Let's fucking go.
You Colt.
W's. Let's fucking go, Colts. Trent tweeted 10U max on Royals yesterday, and they won. So, yeah, is he taking them today? Let me know.
Yeah, well, with him and him lurking in chat, he's going to love my first play.
Sure. Let's hear it. What do you got?
Take him to his beloved Astros on the ML. Justin Verlander against Aaron Nola, which I think Verlander is going to have a relatively normal leash today because he came back first start. He was a little limited, and it seems like everything's working towards him having a normal start. So I don't think there's going to be any limitations on him for this start, but I think he pitches pretty well. More so, I think I'm fading Aaron Nola on the other side because I think he has a tough day. One of the reasons he's been, I don't know, such a weird pitcher to figure out is because his fastball velocity is down. Everything like the movement on his off speed is also down. So like, I don't know if that's a fatigue thing. I don't know if it's an injury thing, but one of probably the worst lineups to do that against or be like that against is the Astros. So I think I want to take them as a dog in this matchup, especially because the Phillies got the late edge yesterday. The line felt a little telling, and it was Sunday night baseball with travel, yada, yada, yada. Today, I think they get their get back. So I like them. I like Verlander over Nola mostly, but late in the game, I think this game plays out relatively similar to yesterday, just with the script flipped. Some late game magic for the Stros.
I'm in. They're catching steam as well, and I'm more than down to fade Nola at this rate and back Verlander catching that steam and back in the Astros in general and fading the Phillies on that little 3-game streak. Now, fading the Phillies in their home ballpark is definitely not the most profitable move over the past couple seasons, and I've definitely eaten my words and, taken moose shit, fake sharp bets, fading them in their home park later on in seasons especially. So that does worry me a little bit, but, I love backing the Astros. I'm all in on the Astros this postseason. Sign me up at plus 120. I'll back Verlander against Nola with that steam. I like it. All right, let's keep moving here. What else do I have up here on the screen? Oh, another over you got, Jovan. We'll go back to that in a moment. I've got one that is top of mind. Can't stop thinking about it. How about that over in DC tonight? We've got Garrett Cole. We've got Patrick Corbin. And we've got a total that opened up at 9.5 briefly before getting steamed down to 9. And I guess now we're going to start to see some 8.5s maybe. Although that juice actually is pretty much back to, minus 110 both ways for 9, which is a good sign there. We don't want that dropping anymore. But I'm cool with playing and fading that steam. and taking the over in this game, opening up at 9.5 involving Garrett Cole, to me, is a big indicator of runs in this game. And honestly, just after seeing how yesterday's game played out, the game went under. There weren't too many runs. The Nats really didn't show up. I do think today's game will be a little bit different. I'm not saying the Nats are going to pull off the upset. I'm not saying they're going to win. I'm not taking that. But the Yankees are minus 250. So if you want to lay that, go ahead. Feel free to be my guest. What I am saying is I do think we'll get runs from both of these teams in this game. Not going to get cute and try to back the Nats to win it and pull it out late, especially with how bad that bullpen is. And Patrick Corbin is on the bump. Now, he has been better recently, Jovan, and he does show up and pitch better against better teams. That's just a weird quality about him. Maybe he does okay, but I still don't see a world where the Yankees don't put up a couple against him. And I think the Nats will score a little bit against Garrett Cole. And then we get these moose shit bullpens involved. Both these starters, I don't picture going very long today. I think these bullpens, that's where we're going to see the bulk of these runs come in. They're backed. They are backed. And I wouldn't be shocked if we see the Nats show some heart today and fight and put up more runs than they did in that first game of the series when they got embarrassed last night. Plain and simple.
Yeah, wouldn't be shocked. I would 100% be with the whole world and taking the Yankees if they were worth a shit against lefties. I know Patrick Corbin's a rat shit lefty, but yeah, that's the only thing probably holding me back. So I think the Nats can score a couple off of Cole and make it interesting.
I agree. Cole has been better recently, but overall this season, he's been hittable. We'll see what we can do. I thought that total opening up at 9.5 was a very, very good sign for runs, even with the game involving Patty C. The splits in this game, probably the sharpest of the day. I mean, there's some fat bets being dropped on this over. 60% of bets, 92% of handle on this over. So people are dropping large wagers on runs in DC, and mine will be one of them. Okay, I want that on record. What do you got, Jovan? I think I saw an over on your cards for your second play.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. Straight back to it, even though they were mooshy yesterday. So this one's a little different because yesterday there were two pitchers on the mound that were like, I thought they're going to give up damage, but they also had like high strikeout potential. So there was no like in between, which is why I eventually don't think we saw runs. These pitchers are a little different because you're going to have Munoz and Quantrill. Quantrill's not a strikeout guy. Munoz, I guess, in the right matchup can have a little bit of a ceiling. I don't think he's going to have that today, but two guys, Munoz more so, like, gives up a lot of damage. He's going to keep the ball in the strike zone, walks guys as well. So you have that creation of offense there. But he's also really bad against lefties. The top of the Rockies lineup is going to be a couple different things. It's going to be a couple different guys. Like Blackman's going to be up there. You're going to have Togley up there. You're going to have McMahon up there. You're going to have Cave up there, depending on what to do with the lineup. But long story short, a lot of lefties are going to be in there to make life hell for Roddery Munoz. So I love that aspect of it. Love as well at the Marlins. I don't think you're going to have the same whiff ceiling that they had against Feltner comparatively to Cal Quantrill, and the way Cal Quantrill pitches is kind of the perfect guy at the Marlins against like any righty they've fucked up as of late. So I think there's plenty of runs to go around in this game after we saw little to none yesterday. I do think it was pretty interesting that we're seeing 11.5, I guess, hanging out there after not only the game we had yesterday, but it's really not that much worse of a pitching matchup. It just, in my mind, it kind of is just because of the behind the scenes analytics part of it, but by name, like, it's really not. So I think the fact that we're seeing 11.5 is pretty telling of what to expect from this game. So I will be taking a lot of offense and a lot of squares.
This might be solo mesh. I don't know if I have the heart.
I don't hate you for that.
It has nothing to do with the squad ride being this play yesterday. You know, I'm more than down to double dip and go back to a squad ride. You know what it has to do with, right? I mean, I just don't know if I could fade him anymore.
I
don't know if I could do it. Cal Quantrill, look, I know he's starting to waver. He's starting to regress. I still just know as soon as I jump in and start fading, bad things are going to happen once again. I mean, I should get part of Cal Quantrill's paycheck at this point. It's ridiculous.
I mean, truthfully, I don't think he has to give up all that many. Because I think I'm leaning on the Rockies a little more so. Because I mean, they're minus 150 in the game, which is, I think, pretty crazy, even with Cal on the mound. But the matchup that makes by far the most sense is all of those lefties and another guy who's not a lefty that I'll talk about, backing him in some way to destroy Munoz.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll hear more about that, I'm assuming, when these prize pick squares start popping up. All right. I like the play and the angle. I'm going to need a serious gut check looking in the mirror time before I can financially invest in fading Cal Quantrill.
No, it's fair.
I need to have a little pep talk.
So fair.
All right. W's. Let's keep moving and grooving. What else do I have up here on this sheet? Ooh, another over. Sure. I want to fade both these starting pitchers in a game that I feel like will be just an old school Diamondbacks absolute offensive run fest in Arizona at home tonight. Once again, like we've seen a lot at the end of the season from this Arizona team over the past couple years. Right now, Arizona is playing some of their best baseball of the season. They're one of the hottest teams in baseball right now. I mean, look, they're almost back to 20 games over 500. They will be when they get a win today, but that's not the bet I'm taking in this game. I do lean Arizona on the ML, but I mainly just wanted to fade both these starting pitchers. Erod has been pretty solid since he's come back. I do think the Mets will put up some runs against the lefty there. And then Manaea, Manea's prize pick squares, man, the disrespect he's getting. His fantasy score is super low. His earned run square is kind of sketchy to me. I'm not going to lie. It's, kind of green. His last 3 starts, he's given up 3 runs in a row. That I don't love, but I do want to fade his fantasy score, and we'll talk about that here in a moment. I thought he was getting disrespected there a lot. His hits allowed square was fucking high as shit. I think it's just going to be a good old-fashioned Arizona, offensive muck show where they really tee up on the Mets here. I do like them on the ML, but I wouldn't be surprised if Erod gets hit up a little bit too, and the Mets come to play as well. That's not a team that I want to be fading at this hour, this part of the season either. So I think the splits in this game look really good. Let me pull them up real quick. 50% of bets, 78% of handle. So some bigger bets being dropped. And we've seen this total move up from 8 to 8.5 already. And that juice is loose on the over. We might even see some 9s popping up here by first pitch. I wouldn't be surprised. So locking this over responsibly before it does. I'm loving runs in Arizona tonight. I think this is going to be a great fucking late night game in Arizona. Plenty of runs, plenty of action. You're not going to want to miss out. All right. And you might need a bet in that as well. Take that over.
Yeah, I feel like you might be in your bag with this one, Krabs.
Runs.
Yeah, I'm in.
2 words, runs. Okay, lots of them. What else you got? Round us out here. You got one more straight bet for the peeps?
Little team total action, which is a little juicy, but I really couldn't get myself off of it. Which I hate fading Johnny Cueto because the dude's an absolute magician. But they even said this, like verbatim. They said the decision to bring up Cueto last start against the Royals was not strictly just because they needed an arm. It was because he matched up pretty well against a team that, like, a lot of the guys that are really going to hurt you are righties. And he has been really bad against lefties, probably the majority of his career, but especially like this year in the minors, he's really struggled with them too. And when he's been bouncing from team to team. So they brought him up for the Royals start because the Royals have a lot of righties. The Royals stacked lefties with what they could, but those lefties are named like Kyle Isbell and Adam Frazier. So it meant nothing. The Tigers have a lot of lefties, a lot of them. And yeah, whether you're talking like guys at the top, like Parker Meadows, Kerry Carpenter, Cole Keefe, even, like a lot of those guys are going to hit up Johnny Cueto very, very hard, which is why I'm very convinced to get involved. Not very convinced to get involved as far as backing the Tigers in the game, but it's because they're minus 155 in the pitching situation, especially after yesterday. And it wasn't a bullpen game, but you got a lot of arms used. I don't necessarily trust that. I wouldn't be shocked if the Angels won this game, but I don't think they're going to be able to win it in a low-scoring battle. I think they're going to have to score to do it. And the one angle I'm willing to die on for this game is Johnny Cueto regressing from that first start against the Royals and really getting his against the Tigers. So I'm laying it. Don't care. It's like minus 135, which is a lot more than I'd lay usually for a Tigers team total. But with this matchup, I do not care.
I'm with you. I'm down to fade Johnny Cueto. I mean, he had a fucking miracle start in that first outing that was okay. I'm not expecting much of that going forward. Let's back this. I don't know if I can call him red hot, but let's back this solid Tigers offense right this second. They've won 4 games in a row. Let's keep backing them until we see the fucking wheels fall off the wagon. I'm in.
Yeah, and I would surely have had just the game over on my card, but every time we bet the Angels overs and the back them to score runs, they take a trip to Shugs. So
yeah.
Good on that. Trying to learn my lesson and just take the other team because they do it a majority of the time anyway.
Sure. W pivots. We've got Reeve Trees coming in hot, resubbing. Crazy comment here. Ravens ain't winning shit this year. Goots. Okay, Reeve Trees. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Guys are always bitching, man.
Goots. I hate when people chirp Goots, man. He doesn't deserve it. We got Aries coming in, dropping a 5U sub whale. Aries, man. It's clockwork.
Aries.
It's every single fucking day. Every day. We're on here on BTL. We get a fucking 5-unit sub whale from Aries 18. Let's fucking go, my man. Yes. Yes. Give us a Dinger Tuesday pick for old time's sake. What? So you can fade it? So you can stay off of it?
Might need one.
I think those might be retired. I'm going to go ahead and hang those up.
There's no problem. We can get one out there.
Yeah, if you have one, feel free. But I will not be giving out any more Dinger Tuesday plays.
Fair.
No, thank you. All right, let's move. Let's groove. We got prize pick squares to talk about, and I want to make sure we have time to talk about this Nats game. Let's get it started out. I love these squares, especially the first one, guys. Gavin Williams, less than 2.5 earned runs. He's going to go out there and absolutely shove in the first game of the day today. The under on the books was juicy, minus 125-ish for this prop. Loving that. Already off the rip. Love the Guardians in this game. Like I already talked about earlier, taking them on the ML. And I think Gavin Williams goes out there and pitches a rare gem today against the Royals, who, in my opinion, are still a little bit overvalued on the roads. They keep proving me wrong. I'm going to try one more time to fade them, and I'm going to back that Gavin Williams less than 2.5 earned run square in a game where I'm not seeing a ton of runs, especially from, their opponent, the fucking Royals today. And I want to back, in a W game script that I think he wins in, the less than 2.5 earned run square that's super juicy to the under.
Sure.
You like it?
I do, man.
Okay. And it's off of Pepe. Great.
Magic. We'll be seeing.
Dude.
Right.
Dude.
Right.
I mean, I promise you guys it was on there.
I
promise you guys it was on there. Not long ago. That's fucking moose shit. I'm going to try to pivot. But let me go and give this Sean Manaea pitch. I've already kind of talked about it a little bit. Obviously, like runs in that game late night, the over in Arizona. And if you look at some of Manaea's squares, besides the earned run one, makes it seem like he's not going to have his best start. He's been pretty solid recently. I thought that hits allowed square was very telling, but instead of me getting cute and taking that, I'm just going to take his less than fantasy score because I don't think he gets a win. I do lean Arizona in this game. I don't think he gets a quality start. I just don't think Manaea is going to be out there very long today. This could be one of his very, very erratic starts where maybe he can't find the strike zone one bit. He's all over the fucking place, and he doesn't even pitch, through the fourth inning, right? I could so see that from Manaea. It's been a while since we've had one of those starts. And looking at some of his props and prize pick squares today, not looking like a great fucking day for Sean Manaea, the lefty on the bump against the Snakes.
Sure. And on that, like you're over in that game.
Dubs. All right, let's see your two squares while I try to find a little backup, Geyserman.
Yeah, people could probably sniff this one out from a mile away. Brendan Rodgers, the righty that I was talking about, he's going to be sandwiched in between, like whether it's going to be Cave leading off, which I don't know if they do that like permanently or if that was just a thing for injuries and rest days a couple of times out, but he's going to be sandwiched in between like Cave / Charlie Blackmon and then Toglia and McMahon, all the lefties that are going to be a part of the big offense against Rodri Munoz. And not that Brendan Rodgers can't hold the zone himself, and I think he certainly does, but I love the spot for the offense. I love the spot for him to be involved in the offense, and I certainly love the RBI spot if he doesn't get one himself. Talking about the guys that are sitting behind him. So this reminds me a lot of Jurix and Profar. Like it's red, obviously, and he has not only that square, but 1.5 total bases. That is red as Ma too. So like, of course, I'm going to be gravitated towards that. But offense-wise, the spot, I mean, definitely mirrors Profar. Well, like he doesn't have to do it himself, but I love the guys hitting behind him and the matchups they have. So I will be taking that. And then Mets game, I took a square on the other side that kind of supports your offense. I like Starling Marte today. That's a square that's looking at me like a weird, I don't know, Candyman type square where like he's up and hasn't been up for too long, but we're joining him and he's been good against lefties, hitting like 300 against lefties in his little short stints. Like he sees Erod today, who's not an overpowering lefty, and you obviously need a righty against Erod, and this is the guy that I think is going to get to him. It's the guy that I think matches up pretty well. He's been a little unlucky too when he has been up, even when he has been facing lefties. I think in a game with offense and a game where like I think he's going to have plenty of RBI opportunities with the guys hitting ahead of him having good matchups too. I like this a lot. It's like these squares are screaming at me.
Okay. Well, more than down to get involved with Starling Marte in that game that I'm already loving runs in. Sign me up, and that's kind of a weird square to be up in the first place. Brendan Rodgers to score a run. Great sell job. I'm in. Sign me up. I might not be able to get to the counter with fading Cal Quantrill and taking that over, but could certainly lock in that Brendan Rodgers square. W's.
Yep.
All right. Any thoughts on that JD hit run RBI square for the Mets?
Yeah, it was pretty hard to choose between some of the Mets, I'll be honest with you, because they got him up there. They got Pete up there. They have a really weird Francisco Alvarez one too. So I'm with you. I like runs in that game. there's a lot of guys that just kill lefties, and that's why the Mets as a collective are so good against lefties. I will not tell you no to really anybody in that lineup today.
I might have just found the backup square that I'm going to replace that one that got taken off the board with here.
So,
But I need to check the odds really quick, and it's going to be a weird one. It's about a player we've talked about already today, a decent amount. And I need to check these odds really quick. Here they are. Okay. Yeah, go and give me Cal Quantrell, less than 1.5 walks allowed. And I hope that's because he's throwing fucking meatballs down the cock vein. I can't ignore that square. We might need to flash it. There it is. Oh, God. The under's juiced on the books, too. You hate its guts?
Well, no, not necessarily. But you remember when we were talking about this? I forget which pitcher it was, but they're facing the Marlins. It was Taijuan Walker, and he was up for, like, his square was a demon at 1.5, and it was like fully green. So yes, like, keep in mind it's the Marlins who don't walk, so the odds in the weird square makes a lot of sense. I know the numbers have been trickling up, which may be good now, but maybe not as weird as it appears.
Adam hates it. Fuck. Adam says Miami walks so much. Bride, Xander, Berger, all walking. 2 players with over an 8% walk rate in the lineup. I'm assuming that means they don't walk a lot.
No.
Maybe there's a couple dudes too that Adam was mentioning there, but all right, that's not good, Jovan, but I still think I'm going to stick with it. Fuck. That square's looking at me funny. I can't resist it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to tell you no because I think he's giving up runs, but
I can't resist it. Let me get Cal Quantrell, less than 1.5 walks allowed, and let's hope that's because he's absolutely throwing pitches right down the fucking meat of the strike zone. Giving up runs left and right.
Yeah,
right?
Fair.
I'm going to stick with the chats. I understand the concerns, and I always appreciate the Phil's nugs and the help. All right, but there's some squares that, you could say the perfect words, and you're probably still not going to talk me off of it, unfortunately.
Yeah, it does help too. I mean, one of the guys with this is not playing because he's on the IL. So, this is
okay.
Xavier Edwards is caked.
Okay. All right. So you don't love it. You don't hate it. I'm going to keep it. Keep it. All right. We got Zach Brown Lee. I don't know why I keep calling him Zach. I think I'm thinking about the Zach Brown band. Z Brown Lee, 118, coming in resubbing for 28 months. Holy shit. That's a run. There we go, Z Brown Lee. This proves Krabs just bets off the last 5 charts. Me having a pivot live on show because a square that I fucking labbed up this morning got taken off the board proves what?
Yeah,
Give me a fucking break.
I bet.
Give me a fucking break. All right, let's move. Let's groove. Jovan, you've talked about your great 2 squares here, and I already pitched mine as well. I feel like this is a good time to maybe talk about some of these fantasy football matchups. Some guys, head-to-heads, who you'd rather have. Maybe we get Gucci up here. He could throw us some options, and we could talk through, who we'd rather have on our fantasy football team. I know a lot of the people in chat, they have their drafts coming up, maybe tonight, maybe this week.
Yeah.
This could be exactly what the doctor orders.
Something's wrong with my cam, but we can start off with Brian Thomas and JSN.
Ooh, Brian Thomas versus Jackson Smith and Jigba. Sure. Jovan, I'll let you take the first rips here. This is your guy, Brian Thomas. I'm assuming you're going with the guy on the left here.
Yeah, I'll be going with the guy on the left. JSN's got to show it to me for one, but it's not even the thing that I'm super low on him because I do think the Seahawks can be a little surprising to some people offensively this year, but Brian Thomas will win you fantasy leagues. Like, I think he is from the wide receiver position, the Sam Laporta out last year. He's not coming out of nowhere nearly as much as Sam Laporta, but if I can get Brian Thomas in a draft, I'm getting Brian Thomas in a draft. I will reach for him. I will do whatever it takes because he is going to have that type of upside. It's rare that I say that with such a crowded wide receiver room on paper, but he's about to be that guy.
I don't think there's a QB I'm lower on this season than the Geno Smith Seattle starter. And you guys are going to find that out on Thursday when I drop the goat well. I don't think there's a single QB I'm more down on this season. And that is a pivotal aspect of, drafting these fucking receivers is who's hucking the football to him, right? Brian Thomas is getting Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is a guy that we're pretty high on this year, Jovan. We think they might do something. Sign me up. So just angle-wise, I don't even think it's close. I think you buy low on Brian Thomas, and I think Jackson is just a little bit, overrated. I would say I need to see it more, and I'm really not high on that offense this season. I think Sam Howell will be starting games halfway through the year. Maybe that's a good thing for Jackson, to be honest with you.
That's a good thing, honestly. Like
probably.
That would be the saving grace. Like you could make that argument, and I would say, okay, I'll tip my cap. Still like Brian Thomas better, but the upside could be there in the second half of the season.
Right.
See it immediately.
No, I think right off the rip, especially, it's got to be Brian Thomas. I'm taking Brian Thomas 10 times out of 10 over JSN, respectfully. Okay. W's. What else you got, Gucci?
How about a little of the top running backs? We'll go Breece Hall and Bijan.
That's a good one. Two running backs who are pretty much going in the first rounds, no matter what kind of draft you're in, right? And pretty much everywhere I see both these guys go in the first rounds. And pretty much consensus top 1 and top 2 running backs. I've seen different websites have different guys ranked ahead of the other, right? But typically these are the 2 running back goats for early on in the draft. It's a tough question. I mean, are you back in, Aaron Rodgers and that offense coming back? I feel like they're going to be a little bit more conservative with him, probably try to establish the run a little bit more. And, I'm a little bit worried about their offensive line still. I'm not going to lie. Then you got the Falcons, and they've got a whole new fucking offense going with Kirk Cousins down there. So a lot of question marks, I feel like, for both of these offenses. Me personally, I'd rather pass on both of these guys unless they fall right to me and it makes perfect sense, at the end of the first rounds. I'd rather take a wide receiver. But between these two gents, I'm probably going with Bijan Robinson. I think he's going to be the best fantasy football running back over CMC this year. I think he's the best fantasy running back out of anybody, and I think he's going to be an absolute menace, not only rushing the football, but receiving as well. Really like his rushing receiving yards. And Breece Hall, look, he was awesome at times last year, but I'm still really concerned about that offensive line. And what happens if Aaron Rodgers goes down? That offense is absolutely toast right off the rip. It doesn't even help Breece Hall. People will think, they'll just hand the ball off 100 times. Well, when the defense knows what's coming and you don't have Aaron Rodgers anymore, it's much easier to slow down Breece Hall. So I don't want anything to do with him. I'll be honest with you. I would take Bijan, but I really don't want either of them. Is that crazy?
I don't know if it's crazy, but I mean, I still want Bijan. Out of the 2, I definitely want Bijan. The thing with Breece is everybody's so high on him this year because they have Aaron Rodgers. Like the offense as a unit is going to be better. Last year, with no Aaron Rodgers, obviously for 99% of the season, where did Breece Hall's fantasy upside come from? 76 receptions on 95 targets, which for comparison, I have a guy in my goat whale for receptions who is an actual wide receiver whose reception line is lower than that. So Aaron Rodgers, it's not like he's never checks down the ball, but he's not going to need to nearly as much as Zach Wilson, obviously. So you can argue the rushing upside is there, but I think it gets nearly canceled out by the fact the receiving upside is not going to be anywhere near what we saw last year. So that's my one qualm with all of the Breece slurpage this year. It's it's going to be the Aaron Rodgers show if he's healthy, and that I think caps his upside. Touchdowns I guess can be a little bit more of the fold. When you look at some of his touchdown lines, I think that's a little odd, I would say, especially adding to the fact that I think goal line wise, you're going to see some Braylon Allen too. I'll take Bijan.
Okay. I'm with you. It's Bijan, and for me, not really close. Although I'm not really obsessed with either of these two gents. It's got to be Bijan over Breece Hall, though. What else you got, Gucci?
Let's pivot to some QBs. Josh Allen and the Brotherly.
Wow, Jalen Hurts. Definitely didn't spell his name right, but that's okay. After how he played last year, he might not deserve it.
Yeah, it doesn't deserve it.
Josh Allen versus Jalen Hurts. I mean, for me, it's not even fucking close this year. I think Josh Allen is going to be an absolute menace. And if he falls to you in your fantasy football draft and you haven't seen a fucking QB taken off the boards, you might want to think about taking a stab at Josh Allen, even without Stephon Diggs. People are so out on this Bills team because Diggs left, because they haven't done anything. They're pretty much notorious folders, right? They melt all the time. But Josh Allen enters this season in the best shape of his life. He said he wasn't fucking around in the offseason. He got a fucking chef making him healthy meals. He's locked in. He's healthy. He's cut some weight as well. He's coming into the season absolutely dialed in. That's the kind of guy who can win you a league right there in Josh Allen. I'm in no rush to take Jalen Hurts. Look, I know last year was the year to fade Jalen Hurts, and I'm not really, fucking going around saying let's run it back again for year 2. I'm not saying he's going to be bad this season. He'll still be probably a top 5 QB in fantasy. but I don't think it's close. I think Josh Allen is the overall number one QB, and there's 50 feet of shit. And then you get the other guys like Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, and everybody else. It's not close to me. It's Josh Allen or nobody. He's the entire fucking offense at this rate. We like him to go less than his picks. We like him to go more than his touchdowns. At least I do. It's so fucking high. It's almost at 40. That's absurd. I think Josh Allen is going to be an absolute monster this season. And as a guy who doesn't really like reaching for QBs, I wouldn't mind taking J.A. if he falls to you. I wouldn't mind it.
Taking Jalen Hurts.
Wow.
And that's coming from somebody who is a huge Josh Allen guy this year, especially like we're talking about the interception front. One of the reasons why I'm so high on that interception line, other than the fact that Trent brought it up, so credit to him, and then the line is what it is. This is the first year that the Bills have had a established running game going into the season. So I love James Cook. And I think one of the reasons why I'm so high on the picks is because, he has Keon Coleman, who can be a deep threat or contested catch guy, whatever he wants. But he also has Khalil Shakir and then Curtis Samuel. So I think the offense is going to be a little, I don't know, so they're going to shrink the field a little more than a classic Josh Allen offense, which I think limits his upside to a degree. What I'm really more interested in buying into as a whole is Kellen Moore and the Eagles offense. I think it's going to be leaps and bounds better. And you can certainly argue, and I've pointed this out too, I think Saquon's going to be a game changer. I think he's going to be league winners for some people. I think tush push is going to be somewhat limited without Kelsey as well. But I think as from a passing standpoint, I think this opens the floodgates for Jalen Hurts. I think Devontae Smith's going to have a great year. I think Dallas Goedert is going to have a great year. Obviously, A.J. Brown fits in somewhere as well. And then, again, this is the first year I feel like the Eagles have also had somewhat of an established run game with Saquon Barkley and not these scat backs. So, I think that opens everything for them. And I think, especially seeing how the season ended last year, I feel like they know how teams are going to attack them or can attack them. So they're going to be ready, and Kellen Moore will be ready. So I think Jalen Hurts is potential league winner as far as QB goes as well.
Wow. I think Jalen Hurts will be better through the air this season. That's for sure. And I cannot agree more with the Kellen Moore shout outs. I still believe in him. I think he's a great offensive mind. And yeah, as a Commanders fan, I'm worried about them adding him to the staff. I think Jalen Hurts rushing touchdowns is going to soar less than, you don't have your stud Jason Kelsey center. They're still annoying as shit Philly scumbags, and they're probably still going to try to run the same fucking play, but I don't think it'll be nearly as successful. So I think they're going to rely a lot more on Jalen Hurts' arm this season. And with Kellen Moore coming in, that already kind of makes more sense to me. Kellen Moore is a deep shot guy throwing the ball down the field. I think he will improve Jalen Hurts this season. I think he'll have a better year, but I guess I just have Josh Allen on a pedestal. I've got him just clear number one QB in fantasy this year. Yeah,
I can respect it. I'm pretty high on both these guys. If you end with either of them, can't say you're in a bad spot.
All right. Let's move, Gootsy. What do we got?
Be another one you're split on. Cooper Kupp and Mike Evans.
Damn, bro. I want both of these guys on my team, to be honest with you. If you can make that happen, do it. Although injuries is a massive concern. I'm going Cooper Kupp, Jovan. I'm going Cooper Kupp. I'm looking at target Cooper Kupp relatively early in this year's draft. I've watched his receiving yards prop get bumped up nearly 200 yards, up to 950. That's absurd to me. Puka is falling in the drafts, and deservingly so, probably. Not the biggest Puka guy. Unbelievable season last year. I think he's a stud receiver, but me personally, I'd rather draft Cooper Kupp a round or two later. I still think you're getting the same value. I think you're getting the same fucking player this season. They'll both be elite. I'm taking Cooper Kupp over Mike Evans here as well. I think Cooper Kupp could be a league winner for you and return to form. We know he's Matt Stafford's guy. They really haven't added, too many weapons other than him and Puka, who I'm worried about taking over more targets. If Cooper Kupp can please stay healthy this season after fucking me over last year when I said the same thing and said he's going to be back this season and he's going to fucking win you your fantasy league, and he cost me with that terrible injury. If he could stay on the field this year, Jovan, I think Cooper Kupp can return to being a top 5 receiver in fantasy football, if not top 3. I'm all in on Cooper Kupp once again this year. I'll give him one more chance.
Yeah, I'll say this because I'm a big Godwin guy this year, a lot more than Evans. So I'll say Cooper Kupp for this part of the argument because I think the floor is a lot lower for Mike Evans for a couple of reasons, like moving Godwin in the slot where he's been at his best. They got Jalen McMillan in the draft. He's been fantastic. And then the run game is going to be better than ever, whether it's with Rachaad White, who I still really don't believe in, but like Bucky Irving by the end of this is going to be, I don't know, A1, AB in the backfield. But I think the offense is going to be fine. The thing that always brings you back to the table with Mike Evans is he is the alpha in the receiver room, but also the red zone target. There's really nobody else for the Bucs. So like you're going to get these games where Mike Evans maybe just is cruising at 3 catches for 30 yards and then catches 2 touchdowns. I feel like the red zone Mike Evans is going to be active probably more than ever this season, even if it's the run game and Chris Godwin while they're down the field. So like I'll still say Cooper Kupp because I love his spot on that offense, but I don't think it's by very much. I guess in the back of my mind too, we did get a fully healthy season from Mike Evans, which I'd be surprised if we get that again this year, unfortunately.
That is true. That is true. And I know you're more high on Godwin. But yeah, I would not mind having either of these two gentlemen. Look, I learned my lesson fading Mike Evans last season, Jovan, when I saw his fucking receiving yards prop was below 1,000. That definitely caught my eye, right? And I fucking ate my words, and he stuffed me in a locker, right? He fucking balled out and got easily over 1,000 yards, even with some injuries mixed in. Nothing bad injury-wise for him, nothing that really kept him out for weeks at a time, but it's Mike Evans. He's always got something. Jovan, you're making a good point. Not rooting for an injury or saying it's, on the way, but it wouldn't shock me if we see Mike Evans get a little banged up this upcoming season after a relatively healthy year. Although Cooper Kupp, you can make the same fucking argument. That guy hasn't been healthy in 2 years. So I think, ceiling wise, Cooper Kupp, I think has a higher ceiling personally. And I think the higher floor, he might have it too. To be completely honest with you. You mentioned McMillan for the Bucs, Jovan. I think he's going to be taking away a lot of targets for guys on that team. He's a stud. Talk about another fantasy football sleeper to take and stash in your fucking draft, this week. Jalen McMillan. He's going to be a fucking beast for you guys. I'm worried about that. Cooper Kupp and that Rams offense, I think they'll be the same old if he can stay healthy.
Yeah. You know what I love, though, which this is the perfect Mike Evans shout. The Bucs, a lot of like Mike Evans' massive plays were play action deep shots. And that came when the Bucs could not establish the run because Rachaad White, regardless, like people think he was so great because he got 20 carries a game. He was not good, not efficient. If they're able to establish the run and teams have to respect that a little more, I think we're going to see more Evans deep shots. So I think the floor is definitely a lot lower for Mike Evans, and the ceiling probably is too. But again, I don't think it's by that much because I think the consistency of those plays is going to be there, if anything.
All right. We got a subby coming in from DJ Lean for 22 months. Let's go, DJ. Sure we can. Goodsy, what else you got, man?
How about some tight ends? Mark Andrews, Dalton Kincaid.
Goods, you might like this one. I'd rather have Mark Andrews this season. It's not even really close. Dalton Kincaid, promising young tight ends for the Bills. No Stephon Diggs equals probably more targets for Kincaid overall. That's what most simple-minded people, their brains think right off the rip, and it's probably true. But Mark Andrews, I feel like, is a guy who we've forgotten about a little bit. We started to disrespect a little bit, a guy who really has not been able to stay out there on the field much, but we're forgetting how much of a red zone target Mark Andrews is for Lamar Jackson. He's going to need him this year. And if Mark Andrews, who's very due to stay out there on the field and stay healthy, in my opinion, he's been working his butt off to get there, I'm buying low on Mark Andrews after a couple of disappointing seasons, and I think he's going to be leading the NFL in touchdowns for tight ends, and I think he's going to carry your fantasy team. I don't hate taking a stab at Mark Andrews a little bit earlier than most would this season, banking on his health. It is what it is, but I'm the kind of guy that likes to take risks in fantasy. You fucking figure it out down the line if he gets hurt, but you take the best overall guy, and I think Mark Andrews, is probably going to be a top 3 tight end in fantasy once again this year when people aren't expecting it.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a target hog because one of the reasons why I'm fading the Ravens is because their offensive line is the worst it's been under Lamar. So, like, whenever he's going to get pressured, which I think is going to be a lot, there's only a handful of guys that he throws to underneath, and I think Mark Andrews this year is going to be that guy. So, especially in PPR, I think Mark Andrews is the real weapon out of the two. I love Kincaid, and obviously he's going to get a fat target share himself, being in that pass-catching room where there's really not much else there, but I think Mark Andrews is going to be the big-time safety blanket all year.
Yep. I think he's going to be awesome this year in fantasy. And I think both these guys will be good, right? Like UB Bulls is saying in chats, you probably can't really go wrong with either of these two guys. Now, I'm not really in a rush to, grab a tight end. I know Jovan kind of disagrees. He's a big tight end guy. And if you guys want to hear more about our tight ends differences, you can listen to the podcast. We talk about that plenty. Okay, Jovan, big on the tight ends, drafting them early, making sure you don't fucking end up with Ben Sinnott as your starting tight ends, right? I'm kind of the opposite unless you get one of the big name guys. But I do think Mark Andrews is going to impress some people, and I'm sure Goots is bricked right now. It'll be a little bit of a comeback season for him. And he's going to lead that team in touchdowns. He's going to lead that team, honestly, receiving-wise, like he did when he was healthy a couple years ago. Beast. Yep. Absolute beast. We're forgetting about it. Is there a Bookit Fantasy League? Yes, Matt. I believe we're doing our draft tomorrow. There will be a fantasy football league. So, and somebody was asking earlier, are we doing a Survivor League? Yes, I'm going to make one. We're going to do a Bookit Survivor League once again this year. I got to hit the guy up. But yes, that will be 100% happening. We have a Survivor Bookit League starting up. All right. I got that. You think I'm not starting up a Survivor? You think I'm not doing a Survivor this week or this year? It's my favorite thing ever. All right. We'll do one. Kadarius Toney waived. All right. W's Trent. I'll look at that this afternoon. I got you. Woods TV coming in, resubbing for 7 months. Let's fucking go, Woods TV. Goots, celeb pick here. You taking Mark Andrews over Dalton Kincaid?
Absolutely.
Okay. Shocker.
Why not?
What else you got?
Also, Jovan, the offensive line coach for the Ravens just passed away yesterday.
Jesus.
But you think that ain't motivating that offensive line?
Yeah, you would think.
We can move on.
We were talking. It was weird. We were talking about that. Maybe it was yesterday. Maybe it was Sunday. Right when everybody got back at the house, and we were talking about fading the Ravens, and obviously Dave was saying that their offensive line was going to be good. The teams were going to be good. Don't fade them. And then we see that news immediately.
Yep. Jeez, man. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And the big six.
Yeah, and I am worried about their line overall. But it's the Ravens, and I never count them out. You never count out a hardball squat, and your life is better. Okay? But yeah, I think there's some question marks with that O-line this year. I mean, come on. They're getting old. We'll see how it plays out. And RIP, Goots. Jeez, that's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, what else you got? We got a couple more of these, I believe, and then we'll go over the rest of the MLB slate.
We got 3 more. Let's do Jamar Chase and Amon-Ra.
Ooh. This one is easy for me. It's Jamar Chase. I think Jamar Chase is going to probably be leading the NFL in receiving yards this season. Maybe I'm crazy for saying that. I am so bought into the Bengals, to Joe Burrow, to Jamar Chase, the comeback, the Joe Burrow buzz cut, the bleached hair, everyone calling him a fucking freak. I think he's out there, looking for a little bit of attention right now. He misses it. A guy like that who's been out of the spotlight for a couple years. Their O-line has never been this good as they're going to be this season. The best O-line he's had in Cincy. A team that nobody's really talking about much in a really tough division because they've been pretty mid in recent years. They've had a lot of injuries, whatever. I think it's the Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow year. I think they put him back on the map, but I think Jamar Chase ends up being the best fantasy football receiver besides CeeDee Lamb. Okay, I would still take CD over Jamar Chase, but I would not be shocked if we see Jamar Chase end up with more yards, to be completely honest with you. Maybe CD ends up with some more touchdowns. I don't know. That guy's a fucking magician in the end zone. But Jamar Chase is going to be fed early and often, and I'm even looking at his receiving yards for the season, and I'll leave it at that. I don't want to let anybody get any ideas, but tap it on Thursday if you want to find out what the actual goat whale is. Jamar Chase is one of those square players that I'm looking at. I think he tweaks.
There you go. Well, I'll go Amon-Ra. Partially because, I don't know why everybody's, I guess some less people now because I've seen some Lions backing recently, but everybody's kind of just assuming that the Lions offense is not going to sustain what they did last year. I'm not in that same camp, and I'll tell you what I'm not in the same camp of either. Everybody still thinks this is the Jameson Williams breakout year. I just don't think that guy is that good. I think we've seen he would have had the chance, or he had the chance already. We've seen it already. He's fast, cool, can't catch, can't run a crisp route, can't get separation. So really, when I look in that pass catching room, it's Amon-Ra and it's Laporta, and I don't think the volume is going to be any lower. I do think you'll see a little bit of touchdown regression from Amon-Ra and Sam Laporta too, but the floor seems a lot safer, and I definitely like betting on that offense, especially with the amount of indoor games that they're playing again, rather than Joe Burrow's health. So I love Chase, but I'm going Amon-Ra.
All right. Yeah, I firmly disagree there, but we'll see how it plays out. Only one way to find out. We have to follow back up on this in a couple months. Both these guys will be studs this year, though, if they could stay healthy, right? And yeah, I'm not down on Amon-Ra at all. That guy's a fucking freak. He's Terry McLaurin, but probably better. That guy, just the football finds during games. Like, it's absurd. The football finds Amon-Ra. Him and Jared Goff have something great going. I'm not down on Amon-Ra at all. I'm just super, super high on Jamar Chase this year, and I think he can push CD for the best receiver in the league.
Yeah.
We'll say. All right. W's. Gucci, what else you got, bro?
Let's go some quarterbacks again. Kyler Murray, Trevor Lawrence.
Wow. We kind of hinted at the Trevor Lawrence slurpage earlier, Jovan. Are you taking Trevor Lawrence over Kyler Murray this year?
Yes. I mean, this is a big mismatch because Kyler Murray rushing upside, he's getting drafted a shit ton higher than Trevor Lawrence, but I don't care. And not that there's he's not Peyton Manning or Tom Brady as far as Trevor Lawrence goes. Like, he has some rushing upside, but nowhere near what you have Kyler. But the focus of that offense this season, and a lot of the reason why I'm buying in, is getting the ball down the field. It is a much more vertically schemed offense. So I think you're going to see not just the offense be better as a whole, but you're going to see Trevor Lawrence putting up some ridiculous numbers against some of these teams and in some of these games that I think they're going to win. And that's one of the deepest wide receiver rooms in the league, with the guy that is a potential league winner in Brian Thomas. So, yes, you may be in better pass scripts, I guess, with Kyler Murray and him throwing behind, and I still think he's going to have a great year, but I am all in on this Jags offense. So wait a little bit and take Trevor Lawrence.
Could not agree more. And yeah, this is the one matchup we're doing today where the ADPs are not relatively close. I know Kyler's around 70-ish, and I think Lawrence is double that. But I honestly rather wait, multiple rounds and take Trevor, like you just said, instead of reaching for Kyler. I think there's a much better quarterback to reach for, a rushing QB around that Kyler ADP, where if you want to take a stab at Jaden Daniels and try to change your life, try to change your fantasy football team, and try to carry you to a championship, I feel like that could be a move, him over Kyler there. But between these two gentlemen, I'm taking Trevor Lawrence, and it's not even close. Not even close. I would take them if they were both the same ADP. I wouldn't care. But yeah, it's not even close. You could get Trevor Lawrence chat way later than Kyler Murray in your drafts, and I'm not really sure why.
The rushing and the fact that he plays
a
team where they're going to have to keep up. But
I
I don't
guess
think people realize just how good the Jags offense is going to be.
Yeah, they're going to be absolutely insane this season. Shout out Brian Thomas.
We'll find out quick.
All right. And don't be surprised if Trevor, shakes off the dust and maybe gets those legs loose a little bit too. People forget he can run a little bit.
Yeah, he can run. They're acting like he's Brady. He's got a little bit. Nowhere near Kyler, obviously, but
I'll never forget when fucking Dabo Swinney he must have kept Trevor Lawrence's speed under wraps all fucking season and then broke it out in the championship game. And he was just running over everyone like he was the fucking running back. That was crazy. I still remember that game. Are we going to go over the MLB game slate? Yes, we are here, Richie, in one moment. I believe we got one more matchup to talk about.
We do. Amari Cooper, Malik Neighbors.
Wow. Two guys that I would not mind on my fantasy team. I want to get that straight and clear right off the rip here. I think both these guys are going to be great this season. Malik Neighbors, definitely a more popular name. Malik Neighbors, definitely a guy probably going a little bit earlier. People are reaching for him a little bit more, and I don't blame him. I mean, I've seen the fucking highlights. I've seen this kid in college, and he does, to me, feel like a generational NFL wide receiver. Now, do I want him in his rookie year? I'm not pressed to get him in his rookie year, especially with Daniel Jones still at QB for that squad. My goodness, he's fucking terrible. He's a great dynasty pick. If we're talking dynasty here, obviously it's not even close. You're taking Malik Neighbors. But I think this year for a normal league, it's Amari Cooper. Are there wide receivers who had a better season last year, Jovan, who are getting swept more under the rug than Amari Cooper this upcoming season? Do people not know he had his best career year last year and their quarterback got hurt halfway through the season? And it was Joe Flacco who's the one throwing to him at the end of the year. And I know he had that crazy one game where he had 300 yards. Sure, and that skews his stats. But you take that out and he still had around 1,000 yards last year. You take that game out. That's fucking nuts. Now they're giving Deshaun Watson one more chance to prove that he's an NFL QB. Hate to say it. The guy's a piece of shit. And I know Giovanni cost you some coins last year, but I think that'd be probably the least surprising thing ever if he ends up balling and carrying that Browns team to being pretty solid on offense this season. And I think Amari Cooper is going to pick up right where they left off in week 10 when Deshaun Watson got hurt. And I think he's going to be an elite wide receiver once again this year. Talk about a guy I don't understand why his ADP is so low. Amari Cooper. I don't get it. Take him.
Dude, Amari Cooper is one of the most underrated wide receivers in the league. Nobody talks about him, and nobody wants to acknowledge Watson and the Browns because, Watson looked a lot worse than he actually was. Go check Amari Cooper's numbers when Deshaun Watson was playing because everybody's so infatuated with the fact that, like, David Njoku is fantastic, but Deshaun Watson doesn't like him. Like, his numbers started exploding once Joe Flacco was quarterback. Amari Cooper is that guy for Deshaun Watson, and I think they're going to have a pretty good year as far as the offense goes. And it's a weird situation with, like, Jerome Ford being there for the first handful of weeks, and then Nick Chubb's eventually going to come back whenever he's healthy enough to do so. Amari Cooper is the rock. So, like, we're talking about Amari Cooper in that offense when he's clearly Watson's guy versus relying on Daniel Jones. Malik Neighbors is fantastic, but I'm good. Amari Cooper, 10 times out of 10.
Yeah, I guess a good question here from Kaprizov. Are we worried about Jerry Jeudy coming in? If anything, Yep, exactly. Yeah. And why? Why is that?
Well, you talk about needing another guy to challenge downfield. That's perfect. And you're going to have him on the opposite side. So you can't get bracketed nearly as much. So, I mean, that's great because then you're going to have not only a guy over the top with Amari Cooper on the other side, but you're going to have Njoku that they can run different concepts with, maybe on the same side. But that's fantastic for them. Whether Jeudy actually does anything or not, like, I talk about Jameson Williams a lot because he's everybody's breakout every year. He's like Kyle Pitts. But the one thing he does do really well for that Lions team, even if he's not catching the ball, he's a deep threat that keeps Laporta open, that keeps Amon-Ra open to where they can't guard him the same they would if they had legitimately no deep threat on the other side. So,
yep.
I love that for Amari Cooper if you didn't have enough reasons to love that already.
Sure. Yeah, if you guys couldn't tell in chat, we're taking Amari Cooper 11 times out of 10 here. Okay. Dynasty, not so much. Regular league, PPR, whatever the fuck it is, you're taking Amari Cooper, and you're going to be thanking us later. Okay. We got Big Dilf coming in resubbing. He says Cooper for all the coins. I agree. Sharp. All right. W's, Goodsy, thanks for coming up and lobbing us some matchups. I really enjoyed doing that. So I hope you guys in chat did as well. And if you want to hear more about our fantasy football takes, if that was just a little tease for you and now you're like, God damn it, I need more. I got my draft tonight or this week. Do me a favor, guys. We're almost at 1,000 views on the YouTube for this video. Please go fucking click this link right now. It takes 3 seconds and then come back before the squad rides. It cannot be easier. Go watch this video. Go bookmark it. Go drop a like. Go drop a sleeper in the comments of the YouTube section that you think we missed and did talk about. All right? Impress me. Put somebody in the comments in that YouTube video where I'm going to be like, holy shit, I wish I talked about that on this pods. I missed out. That's a good pick, right? So let me know in the YouTube comments. And you can watch on or listen on Spotify and Apple Music as well if you are mobile. Okay? Go check out that pod this week. Imagine not listening to that and getting spoon-fed all the answers to the fucking test before your draft. It could not be me. Now, I'm a little biased, but I think that pod is worth a listen. Okay? Dubs, let's get back to business, Jovan. We got to power through this MLB slate. Why don't you take us through the games we haven't talked about yet, your angles, and I'll chime in where I see fits and where I like some plays.
Talked about the Astros. That totals up to 9, which I think is pretty interesting, Krabs. I don't know.
It opened at 9 and immediately went down.
I saw that. Now it's back up, which I get that little floor for Verlander. I guess it makes sense. But with Nola involved in this being at home, and I think he has an earned run square up as well. And the problem with Nola is no velocity on the pitches. Going to leave him over the plates. I think there's good hitting weather there too. That for me leans a little more into the Astros than the Phillies. So I'm feeling good about that. But I'm on the Astros. You're on the guards. Sure. And Gavin Williams, ML. Love that.
Yep.
Love runs from the Tigers. So we got the first 3 covered, I think.
Sure.
We can keep going down. I know it's Justin Steele Day. You got anything there, Krabs? Because I don't.
I was looking at that game and I really wanted to force something and thought about maybe fading Justin Steele and taking, Jared Jones, who is, by the way, I want to say, got to be one of the first fans of Jared Jones. When he first got called up, I was slurping him, I think, before he even made an MLB start, to be honest with you. This kid is electric. Now he hasn't pitched in a little bit. They're calling him back up now, and that sketches the fuck out of me. You know, all these teams bringing up these young guys up or down, this and that. How often does that work out for these pitchers, Jovan? It really doesn't ever. I don't know why teams fucking do it. Me personally, if I was the GM, and I'd probably be better than some of these moose shit small market GMs who don't give a fuck, I would probably start Jared Jones, you know, about 40% into the season and just have him be a fucking normal pitcher. That way you don't fuck with him, calling him up and down and messing with his, you know, pitch counts and, you know, his arm and fatigue. I just think it's so dumb. But they're calling it back up again, Jovan. I'm not expecting great things. That kind of kept me off the Pirates' side. And also fading Justin Steele is a death wish. Even with his prize pick squares looking weird, it doesn't matter. The guy goes out there and shoves every time. Right?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. 7.5 total, though, after 26 runs is pretty interesting.
All right, so Jared Jones was hurt this time. Sure, okay. But I know for a fact they've been sending fucking him and other people down, up and down, and they've been doing that for years. A lot of teams do that too.
And managing innings with a lot of these guys.
Yep.
Jared Jones. I mean, he was hurt, but they extended it a little longer than they probably needed to. They even said that. So
okay,
a little bit of both. So yeah, we can move from that game. We got the Reds.
Huh. Are you backing them today? You gonna lay the juice?
I mean, you know the rule, Krabs. We take the Reds every other series. And what happened? They just got swept by the Pirates on some bullshit where they're terrible the whole series. I think they got walked off twice.
Well, they got one win, 1 out of 4. 1 out of 4.
Oh, yeah. They lost the last 3, right?
They won the second to last one, but it doesn't matter. They won 1 out of 4.
3 to 4. Shit offensive performance, though, for pretty much all those games. Other than one, I think.
Yep.
Maybe 2, debatably. But, yeah, now the only reason I'm not full-on backing them is because Lodolo, I think, is scheduled to pitch, which is not confirmed yet. But, again, I think the dude is, whether it's the blister thing, whether there's some other arm fatigue going on, like he's not ever able to put together a full start. Like he'll come out, I think it was his last start, he did the same shit when he came out like hot, everybody on his strikeouts was splooging, then he gave up fucking 6. Like there's something going on there behind the scenes. But after that disappointing series and an off day, I can guarantee you the Reds are going to show up against Mitch Spence today, at the very least.
Maybe it's just the over in that game then. If we see Lodolo get rolled out there, right?
Could be.
Maybe we just take the over in that game, 9.5. Mitch Spence stinks. Back both these offenses. Yeah, that's probably the play in that game. We'll see if Lodolo gets named. Okay. That's over. Are you going to be joining me on that journey or no?
Should I be joining you?
I mean, I love the play, but you know, whatever happens when I fucking take a play and go to the game.
It's probably cake, huh?
Probably.
Maybe it's just like Yankees minus 2.5.
Now, Gates, do me a favor. Click on that Nats game for me, will you? And why don't you go ahead over to Batters Props? Let's take a trip over to the Batters Props. And you guys will see some home run odds. Oh, Aaron Judge moved from plus 105 to plus 150 to hit a nuke since late last night. Good. Sure. Chappie, by the way, Chappie, you know, almost hit a nuke yesterday and got robbed by Judge, right?
Yeah. Dude,
yeah.
I was so close to throwing a little Chipotle ball on that. I would have been moose.
Insane. Yeah, dude. He pimped it and everything, and fucking Judge robbed it.
Yeah.
Scroll down a little bit, Gootsy. There's another section right under this that's like home run combos. It's the only place you can take less thans. Damn, they got a lot of Aaron Judge combos, huh? They got 4 of them. They got one with Abrams, Glaber, James. Oh.
Aaron Judge and Juan Soto.
They got one with Soto. Would you look at that? Chat, anybody want to join me on this journey? Strictly a spite, hate, fade bet. I don't even know if that makes sense. Don't care. God, it moved from minus 135 to minus 130. That's beat. But yeah, I will be taking this strictly out of spite and hate in my heart. Yep. No sell jobs, no reasonings. I like the over in the game. I wouldn't even be shocked if these guys hit home runs. But you think I'm not going to be sitting there with this fucking ticket in my pocket? Give me a break. Well, everybody around me is chanting, "We want Soto back. We want Soto back." What fucking world do these people live in, Jovan? These people chanting, "Come home, Soto." These people just don't fucking get it. They don't. I'll be there rooting against him like a good normal fan because he's not on our team. It's absurd. It's absolutely absurd. Like, let's all hold hands and fucking chant, "Come home, Soto." What world do these people live in? Ticket in one hand, glove in the other. Sure. What fucking world, Jovan? Unbelievable.
I don't know.
Well, I will have a $250 1-unit play on this bet and no sell job needed. If anybody wants to tail, join me. If not, I don't give a hoot. Natitude. All right.
It just moved back to
Ratitude.
135.
Hey, Gooch, that's huge. Let's go. Could be sharp. All right, let's get back to business here. We only have about 5 minutes, and I just took up half our time talking about the worst bet of all time. Let's get back to the slate here.
We can skip
Toronto and Boston
games. Red Sox are fucking horrendous.
No way we're skipping the hardest games to cap. What do you think the chat's thinking? They need help.
I mean, we're on a time crunch here, Krabs, and I don't have
They
shit
need
to
help.
say. The Red Sox are fucking terrible. Now they're probably going to win because it is Cooper Criswell, but it is what it is. They're rat. Twins are rat. Move.
I'll take the over in that game. I think that's some fake steam to the under. I'll take some runs, and I'll fade these both moose shit pitchers.
I will salute you on that.
Sure. How about Schrellenbach on the ML?
I don't know. I'm already done with that series, Krabs. I'll let you have that.
All right. I would say Twins ML, do not waver, do not fold, do not succumb. Yeah, keep fading the Braves, even after one win. I don't give a shit. All right, I'm going to keep fading them. I like Simeon, Woods, Richardson, and the Twins today, and I don't care who knows it. I don't. Dylan Cease, Mikolas. I had the Cardinals last night. That was a moose shit play. Any chance we see the Cardinals pull off an upset against Cease? His fantasy score was kind of low today. I noticed that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be all that awfully shocked. It feels like anytime Mikolas is like up against like a true ace, which lately hasn't been happening all that much, but I remember it earlier in the season a lot. That's when he comes and has his random master classes, and I don't know. It's giving me those vibes today. I just can't push the button on the Cardinals, or can't push the button on the Cardinals because of the Padres. I mean, they put balls in play better than anybody, and Mikolas is not going to come in with overpowering strikeout stuff, so it might be difficult. Jake Cronenworth also has some weird swears up. Just got to mention that.
Okay. I like the over in this game as well. I also have to mention that. I thought it was weird that it opened up at 8.5 involving Dylan Cease. And, at the Cardinals, I feel like typically, maybe not the most pitchers park, but I feel like, pretty average. You typically don't see the highest totals there. And maybe it opened up because of the Padres offense. I don't know. But I thought that 8.5 opener with Cease and Mikolas, even with Mikolas being pretty mids, was a little high. And I know now it's come down to 8, but now we're seeing that juice rise back up towards that over. Maybe it's just the over and some runs in St. Louis tonight.
Yeah. I don't know. If I didn't see 9.5 yesterday, maybe I probably would have thought this was a little high. So I don't really know what to think about this series.
All right. What about the White Sox running them back after stealing our coins last night?
I mean, it's the Rangers who on paper should set up pretty well against Crochet. Plus Crochet just, I don't know, picks and chooses which games to show up for, not just like pitch-wise, but picks for ones where he wants to try. And I'm not even just saying because he's been bad or good in some starts, but like he literally like pitch selection-wise just doesn't do anything different some of these starts, which is interesting. So like the Rangers on paper should get to him. And I definitely don't want to fade Heaney, so won't be on the White Sox, but wouldn't be shocked.
Heaney the magician. The better he pitches better with guys on base. It's insane. Yeah, I'm good on that game as well. What about Toby catching steam against Logan Webb? I kind of lean the Brewers.
So do I. Giants, really, really bad really bad team.
Sure.
And Logan Webb is on the road against a team that hits ground ball pitchers decently well. So Tobias Myers, another guy that I do not want to fade, who's been largely consistent throughout a lot of the season since he's been up. So definitely would not be taking the Giants.
All right. You're taking the over once again in Coors. Sure. Running it back.
Yeah.
Can I get the 30-second Rays report?
Feels pretty similar to yesterday, just with more juice.
I like the under again.
I think the game might be like literally the same.
Yeah.
Like one of the righties on the Mariners is going to hit a 2-run, 3-run homer early, and then there's going to be really nothing else to say for the game.
Sure.
But we will see. I guess, I don't know. It definitely, I don't know what's going on with Yandy, but Yandy didn't play yesterday. So like if he plays today, maybe feel a little better about them keeping it close. But if he doesn't again, move on.
All right. Yeah, I lean Tampa Bay ML, but I like the under in this game better. TBD if I get to the counter, check my Twitter. That's a later night game. I got to take a peep at that and see where that line keeps moving or grooving. Give me the over in Arizona, one of my favorite plays today. I do think Arizona wins this game, but we are starting to see the Mets catch even more steam. They're now a favorite here. That sketches me a little bit, but I do think this game soars over, one of my most confident plays of the day.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Mets to do it a little more than the D-backs personally, so I don't mind seeing that steam.
All right, sure. Either way, we're getting runs. And then a late night game, Orioles and Dodgers. Goods, get your ass up here. What are we thinking? I need the O's reports. Come on.
I don't know, Krabs.
Come on, man. Show some heart.
Trent.
You're still 20 games over 500, dude. See, act like it. You can still talk your shit.
I'm so done with Trent, dude.
So out on Trent.
Like what?
And I was naked, bro. So Trent's one of those rare people who actually still partakes in the old man rules in the locker rooms, right?
Yeah.
He's one of the few. He's the problem. He is the problem. Oh, I mean, I'd cancel my membership. I'd cancel the membership.
I can't.
That is insane.
I can't with Trent, dude.
Look, I know people like plugging that they go to the gym, but Trent, that might not be the way to do it, brother. Let's go ahead. Why don't we talk after this and we'll come up with a better way. Okay. Goots, O's reports.
The only hope I
let it
have
hang.
is all of Trent's shit is chalked early, and then he just 10 whales the
Dodgers.
Yeah.
Yes.
At plus chicken, so for sure he's doing that shit.
Goots, I'll be real with you here, and I know we got to wrap up and do the squad ride, but there's no scenario on earth where Trent does not have a ticket on the Dodgers tonight.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter if his plays earlier today sweep. It doesn't matter if they go over. It doesn't matter if he has none or 100. He's betting the Dodgers tonight.
Yeah.
And that gives you a goddamn chance.
On a serious note, in this series, this wouldn't be the game I'd like on with Cole Irvin on the mound. So it's just
okay. Yeah, that's fair. He's
other
got that
games,
3.5 earned run square up there too. Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
I like the over in this game. I thought it opening at 9 was a good sign for some runs. I know it's the last game of the night. I know it's in LA. I know these offenses are good, but that opener at 9 involving Flaherty with how good he's been recently, I feel like that tells me we're going to see runs. And also that Irvin earned run square up is a little sketchy too.
Really sketchy. I'll tell you this though. If you want my Dinger Tuesday, even though the promo's gone, one guy, one play, life or death, Martian's death beam. Tony Taters is hitting the bag in this game.
Whoa.
And for a couple of reasons. Like this game, anytime the O's have a shot against one of these super corp teams, it is always a Tony Taters gag that keeps them in the game, whether it's those games against the Astros, whether it's games against any of the other big teams. The Yankees are involved too. He always does it to keep them in the game. And I think the Orioles have a shot. Have a shot because this game's going to have runs. And, Trent is also taking the Dodgers. Who does he hate probably the most in the MLB? That's not in his own goat whale. Tony fucking Taters. And there it is right there. He's hitting a gag tonight. It's written in the stars.
He's asking me what to pick because he fades me because I don't know my team. So fuck
with his head.
I like the Orioles team total under. I like Gunner under 1.5 total bases. Trent, just go ahead and lock those overs in. Go ahead. I don't know my team, so just lock those in. Those are my favorite plays.
Oh, man.
There you go.
All right, let's reel it back in here, folks. We can make jokes about the Orioles all day. Yeah, it's about that time. Jovan, you ready?
Yep.
Goots, run that shit. I want to see that train. All right, chat. Before we dive in and do the squad ride voting here, make sure you check out a couple of these pods we've got out there right now. We've got, obviously, the fantasy football pod. That's probably the most relevant. It's pinned on my Twitter, and I'm sure the link will be dropping in the chat here in a moment. Check that out. And also the college football Power 4, and Group of 5 podcasts that are up there as well. We've got some NFL ones, AFC and NFC previews en route on the way. Okay, just get fucking ready. Lock in and check out the pods we got already up, moving a grip. Okay, Jovan, before we pass the baton over to Trent for the surge stream, why don't we lock in a little squad ride W for today? We need one.
Yeah. You can
with today.
You can take the reins on this one because I know what I want to say first, and I've probably lost that privilege.
You want to take that over in the Marlins and Rockies?
Cut it, dude.
Now, what happened the last time we double dipped on total for the squad ride? It smacked the second time.
It did. But I feel like you have some very confident angles, so I want to let you navigate through that first before.
We could put the over in the Diamondbacks game in there. I feel like that was pretty well received. You were liking it.
Bag that one.
I mean, look, my favorite play is the Guardians on the ML today, but they're minus 150. So we're probably not going to put that in there.
Shocker, he's hurt.
Oh, man, that's beat.
Who would have thought?
We'll put the Mets D-backs over in there. Loving some runs in that game. And yeah, good call, Jovan. You did say you thought he was hurt watching him pitch, and you were 100% right.
For sure hurt, bro.
Now, I also went on a record that sometimes teams fake injuries for their shitty pitchers to give them some time off.
Yeah,
maybe.
But the Reds, they have like an open spot. Well, first of all, like they already have Hunter Green and Andrew Abbott on the IL. So
yeah, they don't have.
And they have an empty spot in the rotation tomorrow. So they're not faking this one. There's something.
Yeah, they cannot afford it.
Yeah, they can't.
I didn't see the fellas prize picks plays today. They are going across the bottom ticker here, Trent. But I will happily send you the 4-man link right after this. Unfortunately, I had to pivot away from Gavin Williams, less than earned runs. I got taken off the boards and had to pivot to a nasty Cal Quantrell under walks allowed. But let's stay locked in here. We got the Mets and the Diamondbacks over 8.5. What do you like better, the Astros or the Tigers team total?
Definitely the Astros. Tiger team total is a little juicy, and we're fading Cueto, so it's by far my least favorite out of the couple.
We'll put the Astros in there. We'll put the Marlins Rockies over in there as well. If you're feeling that confident in it, even if I can't, fully get on boards, I mean, if you're confident enough, that moves needle for me, and we put it in there.
I want you fully on board for these Krabs.
Well, there's only one reason why I'm not. It's because Cal Quantrell is pitching. I love the angle of the higher total day 2. I love the angle of the total moving up, back in the offenses after they fucked us yesterday. The total being higher with a relatively similar Mooshit pitching matchup as to yesterday is a good sign too. Like all the signs point towards the over. The splits look good. It's just the fact that Cal Quantrell is pitching a baseball game. And every time I fade him, he fucks us. That's it. That's the only thing.
Fair. Very fair.
I still think we put it in there and let chat decides. If they want my fucking voodoo hex involved in that over, they can allow it. They can vote for it. If not, they can pick one of the other two.
Yeah.
Right? And am I seeing 11.5s pretty much everywhere now?
Yeah, they're starting to pop up more and more places.
All right, we'll put that up there. That's a good sign as well.
Yeah, it really is.
All right.
You
want to stick with those?
You're going to have a game like yesterday, or you're going to have 16 runs.
Facts. You want to stick with those 3 plays? Mets, Diamondbacks over, Astros, ML, and the Marlins, Rockies over. Was there anything else we talked about today that interested you?
You didn't want to go to your beloved Yanks game?
I like that over a lot. It's not going to get any votes.
I mean, Patrick Corbin's pitching and you're taking it over. I feel like that's going to get plenty of votes.
That is true. I just feel like being boots on ground for that game, and there's no way the chat hands me that one.
That's fair.
Let's keep it to these 3.
Okay.
Quality over quantity. All right, chat. 3 plays, 3 winners. You got 2 minutes to vote. Hurry up. Go. We're running late today already. We got to hurry up and move and groove. We got the surge stream coming up right after this. You guys better be ready to pitch a fucking winner to Trent. All right. Bring the sell job of your lifetime. Bring the energy. Bring the winners. Bring everything. We're going to need them. All right. Chat. 3 plays, 3 winners. Hurry up. Go. We've got the Mets and Diamondbacks over 8.5. The Astros on the ML at plus chick. And the Marlins and Rockies over 11.5. Hurry up. Go. Lock the fuck in. Oh, Jovan, I forgot. You know what we should have put in here? That fucking Aaron Judge and Juan Soto combo less than a home run fade at minus 135. There you go. See ya. Should have put it in.
2.
And chat sprinting to the books to lock in their Aaron Judge squares and their Juan Soto squares, sprinting the prize picks to lock them in a 2-piece, probably fading Patrick Corbin as the 3rd, right? Yeah, chat. I don't think you guys had the fucking plums, to be honest with you, to lock in that over and fade Garrett Cole. So W's Jovan, little sweats action tonight.
We'll be active. Hopefully we have Chelly dialed today.
Ooh, Okay. Well, get him dialed. If one person could do it, it's you. Okay. Looking like the over in Arizona is a fan favorite. Kind of figured. That's why I wasn't pressed to get one of the other plays in there. And juice aside, it's probably my favorite play since I really didn't want to put the Guardians in there. Minus 155. Look at that. A little crabby squad ride for tonight.
Yeah,
all right.
We haven't seen
People
one of those
believe.
in years.
People believe. Sure. Chat, get your votes in. Hurry up, but it's probably not going to matter. It's going to be the over in Arizona tonight, and we'll meet you guys at the cash counter, bouncing back with a squad ride W tonight. Do me a favor, guys. Stick around for the Surge stream starting right now. All right. So let Trent know you're here in the chat once he gets that puppy moving and grooving. And pitch him a winner, will you? He needs one. I'll be at the Nats game tonight to see Aaron Judge and Juan Soto hit nukes in person off my guy Patty C. If anybody wants to come say what's up, I'll be behind home plate, right behind the Diamond Club. So let's have a night, Jovan. I will be hitting you up later to craft up an SGPer in that Nats game. But for now, we'll let the people go. We'll meet you guys at the cash counter when that over smacks in Arizona tonight. All right, we'll be.
Yep.
Get your tickets on SeatGeek. All right, chat. Book it. Peace.